Let's dive right into this explainer and explore the totally fascinating roles that different people play in our lives. You've probably had friends who made you laugh until your ribs hurt, friends who pushed you way out of your comfort zone, and sure, friends who just kind of drifted away as the seasons changed. Friendship is this deeply, fundamentally human experience, but honestly, it's rarely as simple as we make it out to be. So today, we're going to break down the 5 specific types of friends you're going to meet throughout your life, ultimately leading us to the discovery of the incredibly rare anchor friend, someone who has the profound power to literally steady your entire existence. We're actually going to start by challenging a super common misconception. A lot of us just sit back, endlessly scrolling through our phones and think, man, I don't really have any friends. But if you're thinking that, you might actually be dead wrong. See, we often expect friendship to look a very specific, cinematic way. We expect it to be just like a sitcom, a massive group of quirky people hanging out in a coffee shop or a giant apartment every single day, completely inseparable. But the reality? True connection almost never matches that highly produced, idealized image we have in our heads. It is so crucial to understand that friendship usually takes on much quieter, far more steady forms on a day-to-day basis. Think about it. It might be the coworker who intentionally checks in on your quiet days because they just know you're stressed out. Or maybe it's the classmate who always, without fail, saves you a seat near the front of the room. It could even be the person who remembers some tiny, seemingly insignificant detail you mentioned in passing weeks ago. You might literally already have someone showing up for you in these quiet ways right now. You just haven't noticed it yet. So here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll be rethinking your friendships. Then we'll cover the spontaneous friends, followed by the deep-rooted friends. Fourth, we'll talk about the rare anchor friend, and we'll wrap up with why quality always beats quantity. All right, section 1, rethinking your friendships and breaking that friendship mold. This is all about dismantling the idea of the perfect friendship and starting to truly appreciate the everyday people who serve specific, meaningful purposes in our lives. Not everyone is meant to be everything to you, and hey, that is perfectly okay. Moving on to part 2, the spontaneous friends. These are the folks who bring the lightness to life. They provide a much-needed breath of fresh air, break up the sheer monotony of your daily grind, and constantly remind you not to take things so incredibly seriously all the time. So the very first of our 5 types is the easygoing friend. They're the ones who say, "Sure, I'm down," before you even finish your sentence. And this type of friend is just brilliant because there is absolutely zero pressure and zero judgment. They don't overthink the plans or demand some perfectly curated, Instagram-worthy evening. You can literally show up exhausted from work wearing your oldest, baggiest sweatpants or totally distracted by life, and it's completely fine. These friendships just feel incredibly light, simple, and wonderfully uncomplicated. But, because these friendships feel almost too easy, they can kind of quietly slip away without anyone realizing it until months have gone by. There's usually no big dramatic fallout, just a gradual drifting apart as your schedules change. And sometimes you don't even realize what someone meant to you until long after that connection fades. But even these really simple, light connections leave a lasting mark on your life, simply because they offered you a safe space to just breathe and be yourself without any heavy expectations weighing you down. Now, to build on this, let's contrast the easygoing friend with type number 2, the adventure friend. While the easygoing friend is all about that everyday ease and low stakes, the adventure friend, they shake up your routine entirely. They are the ones who will randomly text you on a random Tuesday night saying, "Get dressed, we're leaving in 10. No explanation, no grand master plan, just an invitation built on pure trust and a shared desire for a little bit of chaos. What's super interesting about this dynamic is the totally unique energy these adventure friends bring into your orbit. They pull you out of your shell, right? They push you to say yes to things you absolutely would have avoided. Like maybe a completely aimless late-night drive when your mind is racing, or a totally spontaneous weekend trip that instantly becomes a core memory. And the deeply liberating part of this friendship is that not every friend needs daily communication to matter deeply. You don't have to keep a streak alive. You can go weeks or even months without talking. And the moment you reconnect, boom, the spark comes right back like absolutely no time has passed. That brings us to section 3, the deep-rooted friends, holding emotional weight and memory. We're shifting gears here from spontaneous, lighthearted connections to the vital, grounded friends who hold our heaviest emotional weight and vividly remember the chapters of our pasts. And this introduces type number 3, the advice friend.
This is the exact person you instinctively call when life just feels heavy, confusing, or utterly overwhelming. Think about that literal physical sense of relief that washes over you the second they pick up the phone. The advice friend listens deeply, without interrupting to make it all about them. They help you untangle those massive knots in your head, and somehow, almost magically, they always seem to know the exact right, comforting words to say to bring you back down to reality. But I want you to remember this crucial truth. These friends rarely ask for help themselves. They're usually the ones holding everyone else up, serving as the quiet pillar of the entire friend group, all while completely setting their own worries and anxieties to the side. The friends who seem the absolute most put together are very often carrying the heaviest loads in silence. So, if you have an advice friend in your life, you really should make it a habit to try to reach out to them the exact same way they so selflessly reach out to others. Check on them. That kind of shared history builds perfectly into our fourth type, the history friend. The history friend is totally unique because you never, ever have to sit down and explain your backstory to them. They literally, physically witnessed it unfold. They've seen multiple, completely different versions of you over time. They saw the deeply awkward version of you back in high school, the wildly insecure version trying to figure out your 20s, the confident one you are today, and of course the I'm trying my absolute best, but I'm secretly terrified version. They remember your old, forgotten dreams, your worst heartbreaks, and every single triumph that shaped who you are right now. And because they are so deeply woven into the very timeline of your life, long pauses simply don't erase the connection. Life gets crazy busy, people move away, but some friendships just simply fall right back into place no matter how much time has passed. The history friend is there to remind you of exactly where you came from, what you have survived, and more importantly, just how far you have grown since those early days.
All right, part 4, the rare anchor friend. The quiet force that literally changes everything. This is where we reach the most profound type of connection.
To give this concept formal weight, an anchor friend is exactly what it sounds like. It's a rare, deeply steady presence in the turbulent waters of life. They don't just show up for the fun, high times when everything is easy and worth celebrating. No, they are a calming presence that fundamentally makes you feel safe. They stay right by your side, literally sitting in the dark with you through the most difficult, grueling lows. You might only meet a friend like this once in your entire life, but let me tell you, when you do, it completely shifts your whole perspective on what it means to be loved and supported. So why are they so rare? Well, an anchor friend is perfectly steady without ever being clingy. They're incredibly supportive without ever trying to micromanage or control your path. They never compete with your success or try to dim your light to make themselves feel better. Instead, they are genuinely thrilled to see you grow, even if that growth means your path temporarily moves away from theirs. When they check in, it is out of deep, real care, not just some passing habit. They fully respect your boundaries and make complete unconditional space for your real, unvarnished self. And that brings us to our final section, part 5, quality over quantity, the power of a single anchor. Let's reflect on what all of this actually means for the true value of the social circles we build around ourselves. It all comes down to the number one. Seriously, you do not need a massive group of people surrounding you to live a fulfilling, connected life. Just one. One single anchor friend can completely change your entire life, grounding you in ways 100 superficial acquaintances literally never could. We so often spend this exhausting amount of energy chasing a high quantity of friends to perfectly fill every different situation, right? We want someone for the gym, someone for happy hour, someone for weekend trips. And while all 5 types of friends we've discussed today bring immense joy and undeniable value to the different chapters of our lives, ultimate quality, actually finding and nurturing that one foundational, unshakable anchor friend will always, always matter significantly more than sheer quantity. Now, if you're watching this explainer and thinking to yourself, man, I haven't found this person yet, please know that it is entirely okay. The right friendships take real time. They do not happen overnight, they absolutely cannot be forced, and they very often grow in the quiet, unexpected places where you aren't even looking yet. Actually, sometimes an easygoing friend slowly transforms into an anchor over a decade of shared experiences. So I want to leave you with a thought to really deeply evaluate your own circle. As we went through the easygoing friend, the advice friend, the adventure friend, the history friend, and finally the anchor friend, who came to mind first? Is there someone in your life who might be an